all you mentees, have you read Paper Girls by Brian K. Vaughan and Cliff Chang? Are you planning on watching the show? The whole first season is currently out on Prime Video. Well, I thought it would be fun, since I love this story, to give you guys a taste, if you haven't read the comic, of what it entails, so that, just for fun, you could compare it to the TV show. So, let's take a look. So what we have here are the deluxe hardcover editions of Paper Girls. They're also available in trade paperback, and here's a comparison of how big a trade is compared to these deluxe editions. You can get it in a softcover compendium as well, and as of this recording, these are currently in print. So before we delve into the story, I just want to show you, oh my gosh, how gorgeous these are. We've got a ton of characters that you meet throughout the story here in the first volume. This shiny cover with the Evangelion-like robot here, which is really cool, but honestly, he doesn't play that big a role. And then we've got the girls on their bikes again, but it's a combination of the pink and shiny. I just realized that. Here's a look at how they would sit on your shelves. I love the numbering here. Before I delve in, I do want to say this will contain spoilers for just the first episode of the show, and then obviously spoilers for the whole comic. Matt Wilson does a terrific job with these colors. That does give it an 80s feel, but also sci-fi mystery dark feel as well. And let me tell you, they definitely had the beginning of the episode dark in this series, and then the colors really remind me of the colors here in this book, especially with the sky and the crazy things going on. So what is Paper Girls about? Paper Girls, they are 4 characters, Aaron, Tiff, Mac, and KJ, who meet each other on their morning route, Aaron this being her first morning, in 1988, and it happens to be after Halloween. So they all band together to deal with the A-hats that are harassing them. In terms of the way the characters look here in the comic and the casting for the girls in the show, oh wow, they look so similar. So that's really cool. That just, that happened to be who they... Mac is the hard one, who doesn't take crap from anybody. And you see with her home life how she had to grow up that way. KJ is very athletic, very tough, very strong, similar to Mac, but she has a softer side to her that she's not in your face. Tiffany is very smart. She spent a lot of time playing video games. And Erin, I think it's more of a little bit of an avatar, like, for people here. I mean, she does have personality traits, but it's hard to, like, give her one word that encompasses it. Regardless, I love all the characters. I love how they become friends, how they interact with each other. It's very, It's very realistic how these kids who are like 12 would handle these situations. So, in the comic, they go into the basement to retrieve a stolen walkie-talkie, and they meet this space alien ship pod thing, and they get zapped. However, in the show, they don't see it in the basement. Like, the power, the breaker box is blowing sparks out. But at some point, they do meet these dudes. They were in the basement. And, as you can see, they speak another language. They find that these guys say they're from the future, and they're fighting a war. Now, it doesn't give that specific tidbit in the first episode. However, they're fighting a war, but we do see action and fighting within the first episode. Let me go back and address a couple of things that are in the book. First of all, as you can see, it's rated for teens with language and some of the issues. And secondly, Mac does use slurs, homophobic slurs. And so, first of all, it's the character, not Brian K. Vaughan. He does not feel that way. Secondly, it is a starting point for her to change as a character. Like, you'll see how she changes her mind, right, throughout the story. So I appreciate how you can see a person changing when they after they've started off as a bigot. Or also, honestly, I think it's because she's scared. She's afraid and she puts up this tough front. So I think that has to do with the slurs as well. In the show, Mac is racist against KJ because it makes these mean comments about KJ being Jewish. In the comic, it is that KJ has is it a dream or flashback of her teammates using slurs, and that they said, well, we first heard the coach used it. That's where we learned it from. Now, if your first thought when Paper Girls was announced to be like another 80s show, honestly, this is set in the 80s at the beginning, but it doesn't have that 80s feel on the show. In fact, it's dark and sci-fi and mysterious. They only have like a couple of 80s songs, and those are not like, hey, fun, yay. It's like one of them's at the end of the credits, and one of them's when the sky is turning a dark pink. In the first episode, Aaron does get shot. Actually, they're teenagers from like the way future do heal her. Oh, and here's Ronald Reagan, who was talking to her and talking about like everybody who gets shot doesn't die. They take her to the future for like a minute to heal her. And then going back to 1988, they didn't set the coordinates right because they were in such a hurry. It got messed up, and he's stuck in the wall of the ship, and his hand is stuck through his brain. He's about to die. I was like, oh man, that was rough. All right, now it's time for spoilers for the book. If you are interested, just having fun, you don't know Paper Girls, and you want to know what the story is about and how it's going to be different from the show, then by all means, please keep watching. Let's have fun. Otherwise, if you don't want to be spoiled, then thanks for watching. Okay, so here we have the grandfather. And it's really mysterious what he's all about. And I love how the mystery is slowly revealed throughout all 3 volumes. And we also have these characters who seem to speak in shortened text mode. Like here, the and is an ampersand, but it's like she's saying and out loud like that, which would be interesting to hear. We've got are ye pause, so are you positive? Everything shortened, and later on he's like, don't speak to me like that, just tell me. So I wonder if Brian K. Vaughan got tired of like having to write out this futuristic language where everybody's so used to speaking in text. I'll tell you, it helps to read it out loud to understand what they're saying. So again, as you can see, it's got a lot of sci-fi elements in here. All right, so back to the grandfather. The old people, as the teenagers call it, they are fighting to keep this timeline the way it is. Do not change it. The young people from the future are trying to fix things and prevent them from happening, prevent wars, prevent catastrophes. Of course, the girls are going to get sucked into time traveling and meet future Erin in the year 2016 with her smart car. It's the year 2019 in the series. Erin meets her future self in the year 2019 just by going like back to her house. The story is very fast paced, and it's believable like how kids would interact with each other. Like, what do we do next? Let's do this. What do we do next? Let's do this. Not really thinking ahead, just like going one step at a time. Which, when I say that out loud, I mean, I guess everybody would do that, right? But what I'm trying to say is it's very believable that these 12-year-olds would be reacting this way. We've got like another Erin that comes from another, or she's like a clone of Erin from the future. It's like, who can we trust? We see KJ's field hockey stick with a message written on it. So later on, it's time travel. You find out that Erin's the one that wrote on it and sent it back in the past for her. Yeah, here's the clone Erin. I love all the covers, how simple they are, yet effective, powerful. After adventures in the year 2016, they finally get through a time folding and meet up with KJ, which leads us to book 2. Good thing Erin took all her papers with her, because she's looking for a code that will be important later on what in the world is going on with this war. Ends up that they are like way in the past, that they meet this really young mom who ends up being a really important character later. We have the woman who invented time travel. She came back to, that's the date, they're in 11,706 BCE. There are these three men who are fighting over her son, fighting to take him back. And each of them have a symbol on their chest, like a square. This guy's got like a triangle, and this guy has the power button, right? So we're thinking, like, it reminds me of video games. We saw the Apple logo earlier. I didn't want to say it to give a spoiler because in the first episode it didn't show the Apple logo, but that's what they got, the little black, they call it a mini computer, which it is. Early in the story, KJ admitted that she has feelings for Mac, and that she saw in the future they were going to kiss. This was her touching this thing and seeing the future. Of course, Mac is completely on the defensive, and just really like physically pushes her away and such. And guess what? They do end up kissing. So the group, along with the time traveler, do save the little boy, defeat the three men, and she sacrifices herself, well, basically saying like, go ahead and run, don't worry about me, so they could get back to the time traveling ship in time. And Tiffany ends up in front of Applebee's in the year 2000, January 1st, 2000, when Y2K happened. And we've got giant robots that only she can see. Of course, interesting, it's Applebee's because we do have the Apple logo on things. Aaron figures out with the code in the comics and the newspaper that this woman right here has been leaving those hints for the time travelers, the young ones, the teenagers from the far future, helping them with the war effort. We have quotes from journalistic pieces but at the beginning of these issues that's like about, don't forget to turn your computer off, Y2K, the world's gonna end. This is Prioress, who does have, it seems, a bigger role in the show. And she seems to have a relationship with Grandfather, and this is a younger Grandfather as they're fighting. In fact, Grandfather wants to break the rules that they are fighting for when Prioress is killed by the future teenagers. The girls go looking for older Tiffany, but find her future husband here, and she's like, oh, we get married? But then it's really sweet, like she cares about him because he's her future husband. And here's Tiffany in the future, and she regrets not becoming an engineer like she had wanted to in the past. Future Tiffany and Tiffany's husband's helping out. We've got more action. We got KJ got these cool flying boots that more than once she uses to fight. Tiffany grabs this and she fights as well. So they get in the Ava kind of mech here to travel, trying to get back to their own time period, or at least out of this one. But see, this is the one where the enemies of Grandfather killed Prioress. So look, he wants to smash him, but it doesn't work. Book 3. And man, I highly recommend reading this. This is such good stuff. I skipped a lot. I think it's a good balance of mystery and time travel, that you can still follow the narrative, but you want to keep reading to find out not only what's going to happen next to these girls, but how the story unfolds in terms of, are the two sides of this war really fighting for what they say they are fighting for? All right, so now the girls are way in the future, to the point where it's actually, I'd say, the Grandfather's current time, right? He's old. And the people of the population speak and text in a slang that they're not familiar with, like the letter 2 for two, T-O, or just the letter U, blue lives for cops. They go to a library and ask information about, especially Mac. She was told, actually I think it was in book 1, that she was going to die of leukemia, and she finds out that there's a cure here. So she's going to go get that cure. And also, the friend they made, like back in the BCE era, is right here. Wari, that was her name. Grandfather's name is Japo, which is her son's name way from the past. So I'm not going to explain how that happens. In fact, I'm going to leave some of this a mystery, so you'll find out when you read at the end. I'm going to go ahead and end with this, that I love all the characters. They're really strong, that they have enough depth to them that like I feel connected emotionally to them, and yet there's still a lot of adventure going on. I mean, these 4 girls don't stop. Another look at Matt Wilson's beautiful colors and Cliff Chang's awesome facial expressions. That's what I look for in an artist. And there you have it. I hope that this helped you to get a basic grasp of what Paper Girls the comic is, if you're interested in comparing it to the show. If you've made it this far, smash that like button. It really helps with the algorithm so that our videos will be recommended to other people. And like I mentioned before, I think it's just fun to see the differences between the comic and the show, not to nitpick or to downplay either one as a creation. But I think it's more fun when they both have the same atmosphere. They give you the same feeling. So I'm really excited to continue watching the show. NMC does have a Patreon. Check out the link in the description below. See which tier meets your needs. They start at $1. We've got for documentation, and even $5 a month gives you access to a really positive Discord space in which you can geek out with fellow people about comics. So if that meets your needs, check it out. Thank you all so much, and stay minty!